Jay said, I am following on the heels of Jonathan's introduction and Lenora's exploration and expansion on what is a great challenge, and I'm going to push you to think about great challenges, and I'm going to try to take you to some uncomfortable places. You've heard TEDMED. Those of you who weren't here yesterday, quick overview, TEDMED and NCI are partnering in the Great Challenges of Medicine program. NCI is curating the great challenges that have to do with cancer space. I took a look at the site that Jay kind of graciously set up for us. The URL is down there on the bottom of that page. Not a lot of activity last night. It's okay. Everybody was busy. But I'm going to take you to a place that may not be so comfortable. How many people in this room are currently facing or dealing with a life-threatening challenge as a survivor? Wow, this is a healthy crew. How many people have family members who they have been primary caregivers or supporters for who are dealing with life-threatening challenges along the way? How many of you have loved someone who has dealt with a life-threatening challenge? Okay, now you are in the group with the average Americans. Write down the name of that person for me, please. All of you have those great little pens that we've been provided with and those scratch pads. Write down the name of that person. Now that you've written down the name of that person, when you first heard those words, Aunt so-and-so has, Grandpa has been diagnosed with, I just got a blah, blah, blah diagnosis, what were a couple of the feelings that came up for you? Write those down too. This is going to be the fuel that spurns you to move towards that place and contribute to the Great Challenges Project. It's an interesting project, and you guys we want you to have a voice. We want you to contribute. We want you to be a part of the conversation. How do ideas spark to become innovation, to become institutionalized, and to grow? How does the spark of innovation grow? We've heard a lot about, I want to call them extravaganza-isms. They are intellectually stimulating. They're interesting. What we take to action tends to be personal and tends to be emotional. These are just some ideas that got taken to action. A couple of quotes. A safe place for a dad to spend time with his daughters. Over 60 years ago, there was a very overworked dad who every weekend took his two little girls on Saturday morning to go do what they liked to do best, which was ride merry-go-rounds. And in Los Angeles, in that era, that meant the Santa Monica Pier. The homeless situation in the Santa Monica Pier in that day was way worse than it is today. And he didn't feel real good about his little girls being there, sitting on a park bench, didn't like the company. He invented a place called Disneyland. 15 miles from here is a property the size of Manhattan that has the largest destination in the world of theme parks. Second quote, why can't I see the picture now? A family on the border of the Grand Canyon, a mom and dad. Dad happens to be a chemist for a company that used to make what some of you may remember as film. The little girl was a chronic diabetic, a very aggressive childhood diabetes. She was losing her eyesight. They wanted her to see everything they could take her to before that eyesight went, that looked like it was going to be about age 12. They took a bunch of pictures. She said, Dad, when can I see the pictures? He said, well, we got to mail them to the lab. They'll come back in about 2 weeks. She said, why can't I see them now? And he realized she actually could see them now. Chemists didn't think that way. The sun could, in fact, be what exposed the pictures. The chemicals could be in the photograph itself, and the concept of Polaroid was born. Lie to him every day? Why? There were two 15-year-old boys. One got diagnosed with an adolescent liver cancer. They opened him up, closed him up, said probably 6 to 8 months. That's the best prognosis we can give. The other one was his best friend and his cousin. The dads got together and decided they would tell the kid who got diagnosed that he was going to live and be fine, but the chemo and the surgery was going to be really bad. They told the other kid that he was in fact going to die, but his job was to lie to him every day because he needed a bodyguard when they went back to high school. That 15-year-old kid was me. That was my introduction to adolescent cancer. 40 years later, I wrote a great challenge. The question, great challenges are questions. Why do adolescents and young adults get cancer? And why has the 5-year survival rate of the entire 15 to 39-year-old AYA segment not improved in the last 20 years. How is that possible? And I nominated a chairman for that great challenge, who's Dr. Leonard Sender, who wrote the first peer-reviewed journal on AYA cancers, which just got published last year. So I want you guys to think about what you emotionally connect to. Intellectual connection is interesting. Emotional connection drives calls to action. There's a URL that I want you to write down below the name of the person who you jotted down, which you are emotionally connected to. Please write it down. Jay, thank you for launching that site for us. Log into it, submit a great challenge, or suggest a challenge champion or expert to be a part of another challenge, or add your personal thoughts to an existing one that you feel passionate about. http://cdhw.ideascale.com, and you can find it from the site from the conference as well. Thanks for your time.